a few days after former Vice President Atiku Abubakar emerged as the presidential candidate of the opposition People's Democratic Party, the search for its running mate has been widened to different parts of the country, especially the south, southeast, and southwest. Atiku and the leadership of the PDP are considering either the southeast or south as a place to pick the running mate based on what political sources are telling Arise News. And the north-south presidency composition is what they are looking at. And names like Nyesom Wike are being put around by some other persons because he came second during the presidential primary. Of course, we have Governor Emmanuel Udom of Akwa Ibom State. There's Governor Ifeanyi Okowa of Delta State, as well as former Senate President Anyim Pius Anye. And of course, we haven't heard any name coming out from the Southwest. We don't just know what's happening. But of course, Atiku will be flashing his torchlight all around these places. Well, it's been said that Atiku is actually is only receiving nominations and engaging in broad consultations to make a choice that will be acceptable to stakeholders in the southeast, south, and even the southwest. What way will the party go in helping Atiku to pick his running mate, and what is the major agenda for the presidential candidate as we move on to the bigger things ahead of 2023 general elections? Well, for more on this, I'm glad to be joined in the studio by Paul Ibe, who is the spokesperson for the People's Democratic Party's presidential candidate, Atiku Abubakar. And I welcome you here, Paul Ibe. Congratulations. The last time we had you here, we were just talking in the realms of, strategies, campaign, speculations here and there. But your principal has finally emerged. How do you feel amidst all the turmoil, the horse trading, in the midst of that convention?
Thank you so much, Sumner, for having me. Yes, the last time we were here, we were, looking at, all the ramifications, the primaries and the challenges. And I did, indicate that the PDP will address all of that. They have a mechanism, very robust, for dealing, with all of that. I think that was what played out. Atiku has accepted this responsibility, with humility, because that's what it is. We've crossed, one river. There is a major river to cross. Okay.
Paul Ibe, a lot of Nigerians are saying that there was dollarization of the presidential primary, and it was more of like who outspent the other candidates, the other aspirant and all of that. What will you say to ensure Nigerians that Atiku Abubakar followed the due process, and of course is someone that can help to salvage the image of Nigerian politics in the midst of all these allegations of, inducing delegates, or even delegates asking for inducements here and there?
The EFCC was on ground, as one of the observers in that election. And I don't think they went there for sightseeing. They went there to do a job. I mean, if there are dollars that were stacked in bags, like it's been speculated, I'm sure they will have, arrested, those persons, with those dollars. So I think those are all media, speculation. From our end, Atiku Abubakar as as aspirant now candidate, what we did was to, engage, with the delegates. Atiku traveled, across states. He met with them, he spoke with them. He sold his vision, of the unity seat, security, economy, education, and devolution of powers. It was very clear. It was a very powerful message, and it resonated. And he didn't stop there. He still went ahead to speak individually to those delegates on the phone. It was a game changer. It was unprecedented. It never happened in our political process. So I think that was, what, tilted, victory in his side, coupled with the very patriotic decision of Tambuwa. It was, he stepped down, on national interest, because even himself.
Some others are saying it's based on tribal interest.
Certainly.
I had some people on my shoes.
Certainly not.
It's a northern agenda and not nothing so.
There was a gentleman, one of the aspirants from the southeast, who stepped down for,
Yes,
Governor Wike.
Anakwenze.
Oh yes, Anakwenze stepped down for Governor Wike. I mean, would you say that that was, based on tribal? I don't think that was what it is.
Okay.
Everybody knew that Atiku Abubakar was the most viable. I said it here. He was the most viable of all the, aspirants, and he worked hard. And
okay.
So
we've seen Atiku going around projecting himself as a unifier, and true to his word, going around to meet with those who he defeated at the PDP presidential primary election. Now, let's talk about how Atiku is helping to unify the PDP, because a lot of persons say the PDP is not in good shape at the moment, and that he needs to do a lot of unification to ensure that the party is won ahead of the general election. What is he doing apart from visiting Wiki, visiting Saraki, Hayatuddin, and all of these other persons?
Unity is very key to Atiku Abubakar. It's one of the, one of his agenda, and he's of the opinion that if you don't address the issue of unity, you cannot make any progress in terms of development, the economy and the rest of it. So unity is crucial, because we find ourselves at crossroads. Never has this country been so divided in our history. People have all manner of cleavages, and people have retired, into their small, little, zones. And so what he has started with is the aspirants, his co-aspirants, started with visits to them, to Governor Wike, who was a runner-up, and then to Saraki, and then to Ayim, in that order. And what he was trying to say is that, of course, those leaders have people who are their followers. And he wanted to send across a strong message that you can't clap with one hand. You need everybody on board. And so by visiting those leaders, he's also, harvesting, their followers to be part, of this, train. Because the PDP needs to stand, united to be able to confront, the ruling party.
And I was speaking with, I was having a personal conversation with someone in the governing APC, and he told me that the APC has a playbook on how to defeat Atiku. I mean, they've done it before, and they are just going to, it's more of like going to be a walkover this time around again, because they know all the intrigues of Atiku. He was a member of the party before he went back to the PDP, and that there's not so much to be afraid for. What do you make of that submission?
Why is the APC scheduling and rescheduling their primary? I mean, have you given it a thought? Why they are doing all of that? Why are they all, trying to configure and reconfigure and looking for a candidate? But the truth of the matter is this: even if the APC brings a candidate from the moon, that candidate has to, own their scorecard. And you and I know what their scorecard is. It's F9 in every sector. Security, economy, that they had said they were going to bring a change into. What have they done? Absolutely nothing. 18 million children out of school, out there on the streets, with all of this security risk that is posed, by those people. They become, they can be, harvested, into all of this banditry and the rest of them. The economy, there is no economy. Energy crisis. A tin of milk is about 3,000. I go to the market. I don't know about you. The big size milk, disposable big pack. The last time I checked, it's 10,640 naira. A bag of rice is about 30,000. That's the minimum wage.
And Atiku will change all of that.
I mean, there is no magic. There is no magic win, about all of this. It's to have a strategic plan. The APC came into this administration. We're not prepared. They wanted to, wrestle power, and they did. They didn't know what to do with it.
Yeah, but Atiku was part of that APC in 2015.
That was 2015, and this is 2022. The question is, what has the APC done with the mandate that has been given to them? The result of what they have done is what they should be presenting to Nigerians, not to be talking about a candidate.
Okay. Now, the search for a vice presidential candidate or running mate to Alhaji Atiku Abubakar is on and so on. Tell us a little bit about that, because last time in 2018 when he emerged, all of a sudden people like Governor David Umahi, being chairman of the Southeast Governors Forum, was expected, according to a deal which they had said they signed or they reached, to be chosen, but that didn't happen. Ike Ekweremadu too was so angry that he wasn't chosen, and all of a sudden Atiku went outside of all of these persons to pick a Peter Obi. Are we expecting the same thing, or it will be from one of these key political players that helped him to emerge as a candidate?
Like I said earlier, unity is very key. Atiku believes that if you cannot unite your party, I mean, on what basis are you talking about uniting the country? So he started with, with that. I think, of course, there will be a process. There is a process that is in place, to selecting a vice presidential candidate that will complement, add value to Atiku Abubakar. Somebody that will be able to be president in the absence of the, of Atiku Abubakar, if Nigerians give him the mandate, But that must not overshadow the much more critical, agenda that he has, which is about unity. He has to unite, the members of the party. There are governors, there are stakeholders, there are lawmakers who are, part of the, who are members of the party. And he has to, consult with them. And I believe that the process obviously is, has started, and until, the vice presidential candidate is, nominated, every other thing that you see out there are mere speculations. And
permutations will continue, because that's how politics is all about. Now, I'm taking you quickly to this before we end the show. Atiku Abubakar has always been insisting that he won the 2019 general election, and that something was done somewhere in INEC. Earlier on, we had server until we went to court, and that didn't happen. And he keeps insisting. Do you believe in the credibility of the electoral process and the electoral commission to deliver an election that will be accepted by all Nigerians and maybe favor you?
Atiku Abubakar is not claiming that he won the election. The truth of the matter is that, that mandate was stolen, and it happened shortly before midnight of Saturday. We were tracking, the figures. Something went awry. The process was manipulated. However, we are confident that based on legislation that have been put in place, the electronic, transmission, and more importantly, Nigerians have become, more aware. And, this election is Nigerians versus the APC. It's not about Atiku Abubakar. Hungry people have been impoverished, people who are not safe. The question is, what do they want? I believe Nigerians want a better life, not the kind of, life that they are, having under this, administration in the last 7 years.
You have implicit confidence in INEC and its national chairman, Professor.
More confidence in the ability of Nigerians to be able to defend, their votes. More confidence in that ability to defend, their votes.
Very interesting indeed, and we can only wish you well and your party, and of course Nigeria well, as we head into that crucial election. You've already passed the first goalpost. The APC is still searching for its own candidate, and I think it's a nightmare for them at the moment. Well, until the candidate emerges, we can keep just waiting to see who slug it out with your principal. We must thank you so much, Paul Ibe, your spokesman of the Atiku campaign organization. For spokesman for former Vice President Atiku Abubakar, because the campaign council is yet to be put in place, and we hope that when it's put in place, you play a crucial role, because you've always been there for former Vice President Atiku Abubakar.